The only option for Russia to protect its aviation from Ukrainian drones is to build a hangar for each aircraft. This was stated by military expert, founder of the Reactive Mail, BO Pavel Narozhny on the air of Radio NV. But the question of building these hangars, these planes are huge. There are dozens of them at the airfield, and it is practically impossible to do this. They can't even do this fully for tactical aviation. At the same Millerovo, where they usually just lift planes into the air, and they can't hide them in hangars, said Narozhny. He also mentioned Russia's attempt to protect its aircraft with car tires. According to him, such an approach will not save Russian aircraft from Ukrainian drones, even a drone with a cumulative munition. There is a small chance that it can be knocked aside, but it is unlikely. If it is from a long distance, then perhaps it will protect. Somehow, it will not protect from the debris that such drones are usually filled with. In any case, the entire area needs to be covered. But the debris will pierce this tire and then it will go into the plane. Therefore, this is some stupid idea of a local officer. Who came up with the idea that this could be done? Narozhny added. So, Russia's strategic military aviation is again left defenseless, and Ukraine may launch further drone strikes. Recently, Reuters journalists calculated and found that Ukraine had hit fewer Russian aircraft than reported. In particular, as a result of Operation Spiderweb, about 20 Russian aircraft were attacked. Of these, about half were destroyed. According to the official version, the Ukrainian Defense Forces hit 41 enemy aircraft. At the same time, it became known that the occupiers are masking serious losses after Operation Web. According to a Ukrainian source, the Russians are bringing other undamaged aircraft to the airfields instead of the burned equipment so that the damaged sides are not visible on satellite images. In addition, OSINT analysts have recorded cases where a burnt Tu-95 aircraft is visible on the photos of one of the affected airfields on June the 2nd. And on the photos of June the 4th, a whole Tu-95 is already standing in its place. Meanwhile, Sky News writes that Putin is trying to play the victim in front of Trump after Ukraine's attack on Russian airfields. According to journalists, Putin is thus trying to regain Washington's favor.
Ukraine's defense industry can produce up to 10 million drones annually, Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Kazhenko said at the Shangri-La Dialogue Security Forum in Singapore. Ukraine has taken its drone industry to a new level, developing innovative solutions for use in the air, on land, and at sea, Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Kazhenko said. Kazhenko said Ukraine's defense sector now has the capacity to produce up to 10 million drones annually. He emphasized that domestically produced drones are significantly cheaper than foreign analogs and have already been tested in combat. Ukraine is changing its approach to the use of UAVs, Kazhenko said. Currently, drones are responsible for 80% of all damage on the battlefield. Kazhenko invited international defense companies to cooperate with Ukrainian manufacturers, offering opportunities for financing, joint ventures and the exchange of experience. Ukraine has emerged as one of the global leaders in the use of drones in the battle space, turning UAVs into a key instrument of modern warfare. With constant improvements in technology and tactics, Ukrainian forces are striking targets deep behind enemy lines, often in places where Russian troops feel safest. A vivid example of this was the security service of Ukraine's special operation, Spiderweb, on Sunday, during which drones simultaneously struck at least 4 Russian strategic bomber airbases, disabling dozens of aircraft that not only have been attacking civilian targets in the Kremlin's war against Ukraine, but also make up a leg of Moscow's nuclear triad. In April, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine sees strong potential for continued growth in the drone sector. Since the start of 2025 alone, more than 20 new certified models of fiber-optic drones have been developed in Ukraine, he said. Russian elites certainly have no illusions about their safety. Ukrainian politician Ola Rybachuk said this. In Russia, the concept of a deep rear has already disappeared. Previously, they hid behind thousands of kilometers. Now there is simply no place, no region on the vast territory of Russia where such things cannot happen. Interestingly, even the Americans nervously reacted to the Spiderweb operation. One American analyst wrote that the US already imagined a scenario where something suddenly flies out of the Chinese containers that arrive by the tens of thousands at the ports. It seems to me that the Spider's web operation will have a continuation, Rybachuk emphasized on Espresso TV. According to the politician, Ukraine has created a precedent, and now the Russian elites have no illusions about their security. If they couldn't even protect strategic aviation facilities, what can we say about ordinary people? In other words, if Ukrainian intelligence wants something, there are no forces that could stop it, Rybachuk said. He added that Russian dictator Putin personally worries about his own security. Every evening, 12 identical escorts drive off in different directions. Nobody knows where Putin stops or in which car he is. He doesn't even trust his own security chief and personally deals with security matters. Putin loves himself very much and values his life extremely highly. And when we are threatened with nuclear weapons or Orshnik, I clearly understand, Putin wants to live. In Russia, there is an entire science working on preserving Putin's life. This is also characteristic of dictators, they don't want to die even a natural death. I won't even mention risking it, Rybachuk concluded. Recall, on June 1, 2025, the Ukrainian Security Service conducted a major operation called Spider's Web aimed at destroying Russian bomber aviation. It is known that 40 aircraft were damaged. According to the security service, the estimated value of Russia's strategic aviation affected by the special operation amounts to $7 billion. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry stated that all terrorist attacks at military airfields in the Ivanovo, Ryazan, and Amur regions were repelled. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked SBU head Vasyl Malyuk for the operation's results. He noted that the office of the SBU operation in Russia was located right next to the FSB administration in one of the regions. A total of 117 drones were used in the operation.